Good morning, everyone. I thought I'd come on and continue working on this insert for my bench until the company gets here. So I have about an hour, a little over an hour that I can work on this. So I just thought I'd come on and start this. I know I want this to be a little bit lighter. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stain this. We'll do a wash rather, using a wet white, just this post part with some antique white. So we'll see how that goes. I just kind of want it pretty light and showing the grain through. So just pretty minimal. And that's probably good enough. And the bunny, I know I don't want it the same color as the bigger one, but I don't want it as dark as this antique white. So I think what I'll do is I'm gonna mix some antique white and some buttermilk, and hopefully I can come up with a pretty light color. I'm not big on mixing the paints, but sometimes you just got to do that to help get a color that you want. Kind of what I'm looking for is just something a little bit darker than buttermilk. Let's kind of just see how this is. See how that dries. Because paint always seems to dry a little bit darker than what you want. I think that might still be a little bit too dark. And then what I'll do is I'll actually shade with the antique white. So that's just going to have to work. So I just want to get enough paint on here. Because when you're mixing, you got to mix enough. It is a rainy day here today. So I got a couple designs finished this morning. And I wasn't going to create a Valentine's Day for my newest design, but I ended up getting a really good idea for something. And so I said, why not? So I'm almost done with that. I actually cut out, oh, that's too much paint. Gotta dig those score marks out. I cut out my new design, my interchangeable, and I'm actually gonna paint that while we were watching football. And then I'll probably put that together sometime this week. I'm going to do a video on how to put it together. I'll put it in the private group. But I'm not going to sit there and glue it all while I'm doing the video. It's actually pretty simple to put together. And I marked all the pieces, which makes it even more self-explanatory. So it's really going to be easy. So really you don't need any, I'll include directions, but you really won't need them. I mean, it's going to be simple. It's like putting a puzzle together. I don't know, I might have to do this a little bit darker. Well, maybe I can go over that a little bit more just to darken it up. I'll do that when I go to shade these. And even though I changed the sticky board, terrible. And really, there's going to be a lot of the tail and the feet glued onto this, so really shouldn't be worrying about painting this whole thing. See if I can get just a little bit darker on here. Just one a little bit darker. I want that grain to shine through. I think that's probably better. Yeah. All right. I'm going to use the poodle skirt pink. I can't talk today. Gonna paint these pads. Probably should have highlighted and shaded the foot. Or if these temperatures drop today, we're in trouble. Or if this turns to snow, we're in trouble. It will be an interesting drive into work tomorrow. I'm not supposed to get warmer, but I don't know how much warmer. Heck, we might end up with some flooding out here. Because it's been raining pretty good for a good hour or so. And I know these roads flood out here. So next weekend starts some bowl games. As a matter of fact, Ohio State plays Tennessee at Ohio State. And Ohio State hasn't been looking too good, but they really need to win this game. Because if they do, they get to face the Ducks on New Year's Day and play the Rose Bowl. And they lost to the Ducks earlier this year. That was their very first loss. And they never ever really looked, I feel, good after that. Not impressed with our quarterback. But I'm really hoping it'll be a different story. And the fact that you didn't beat Michigan, Coach better figure that one out for next year. But something tells me if, I don't know. I have a funny feeling he ain't gonna be around too long. I could be wrong. I think this upcoming game will tell the tale. And then Belichick, he went to North Carolina. Wow. He ought to do good things for their program. And I'm going to try and paint this sign. Hopefully I don't get it in the engraving, but you never know. My paint's already starting to dry. I don't do the whole masking thing, but I probably ought to think about doing that. I'm just barely touching this because I don't want it in my engraving area, but I'm trying to get the best possible coat I can get. I might just even take a small brush and go in between the letters. in a hurry. Oh well. Every now and again, and I did it again. Every now and again you have to have a dirly day. Today's my dirly day. Alright, good enough. Okay, let's do a little bit of highlighting and shading on these pads. I don't think I'll do anything around that sign. Just using some pink chiffon. To brighten up these pads. I have too much water on my paint. I'm on my brush. I'm really rushing today. And when you rush, you don't do a good job. I don't want my things to look like somebody else's. think what I'm going to do is I'm sanding around this sign just to kind of distress it a little bit here and there. I don't know, maybe I'll shade around that. I think that's what I'll do. Because it needs something. It just kind of blasé. So I'm going to use the bubblegum pink to shade these pads. Might have to go over these teeny ones a little bit more. Not seeing a whole lot of color there. The sign looks boring. So I'll shade down the sides, bring in a little bit of color. Just gotta watch you don't get the paint, your float too wide, or you'll be getting it in your paint. I mean, in your engraving. And I normally don't do that like that, but kind of in a hurry. Trying to get as much done as I can before I have to call it quits today. And I have to empty my water. because maybe I can get away with it. Alright, I'm going to try and highlight without getting that in the pads, but I don't know. I'm going to use light buttermilk. Just kind of, I have to tilt my brush a little bit. I don't think I'll shade them. And I think I'll paint the tail this light buttermilk as well. And then I'm just gonna try and walk a float at the tips of the ears. you get a little bit of paint on your edges, and I usually do that from floating, just take a wet wipe and wipe it off. Okay, I know I want this to be purple. Then I'm going to do the other one, I think, yellow. Or I might do that blue. I really like that blue. I thought about yellow because, you know, Easter is purple and yellow. But I don't like the shading color on that. It's a little bit bright. Well, so is that one blue. Just try and get as much paint off as you can when you're trying to go over engraving areas or scored areas. You know, load up your sponge, but then tap off the excess paint. And then just pounce, tap, however you want to word it, just really lightly over those areas. I'm gonna do yellow. You always go with your first instinct. And I'm gonna do yellow. This is a light enough color that if I don't like it, I can go over it. I think those three colors will look good together. Looks like Easter looks very springy. So I think that's a good combination. Go for that purple a little bit better. All right, I'm gonna let that dry and do it the right way. All I need to do is a little highlighting on that tail, and this is good to go. Just get this other side. Then all I have left to do is the banner, and that is going to be pretty easy. It's just going to be a bunch of multiple colors with white lettering. I don't even know if you'll be able to see any white on there, to be honest with you. I did not sand any of my pieces. I don't use MDF, I use wood. I think wood just is better for me. I think it holds up better. It's not as filthy and dusty to cut on your laser. And when you go to do a stain or a wash, you can actually see the grain. MDF does not have a grain. It's nothing but wood particles and glue. Kind of like a press board. A lot of people use it, but no. Not my thing. All right. Let's get this bunny glued together. And we'll call it good for today. Oh, I didn't shade on this. Oh well, I'm not gonna worry about it. Now these feet are definitely different. it's hard to see, but you want to make sure you get the left foot on the left leg, and vice versa. Whoa. I'm just moving it all around. I have a terrible glare. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to glue this bunny on to the signpost first. And here's the reason being, you're going to glue these signs whichever way you want, you know. But if you put those on first and you put them down too low, you won't be able to put your bunny on. So I'm gonna get my bunny on first, make sure it's good and set, lined up. I think I want a little bit of the top of the post showing. Maybe not. Yeah, I want a little bit of that post showing. And just try to get them centered. I mean, if you don't, it's no big deal. It's just a sign. And that's that. Done. Pretty festive. 12 o'clock. I could start a little bit, but I'm not going to. I got a lot to do today. So let me grab the other elements, show you where we are, and you'll have to post your opinion. But this is how I'm gonna stick it on my bench. I'm gonna put the bunny in the middle. And this is how it's gonna go. And you can't really see it all that much. But I'll post a picture when it's done. But I think it's gonna be pretty cute. So thank you for joining me today. I'll be back on next weekend, finish this up, and then get started on a Valentine's insert for my new design. So hopefully you'll join me. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.